BC's favorite senior lifestyle magazine comes to life. Join us as Senior Living goes on location to bring you the inspiring, informative, and entertaining adventure-filled stories of seniors in your community. Senior Living on location, changing the definition of aging, celebrating seniors living life to its fullest. Stay with us as we discover why life is a riot for BC entertainer Bill Reiter, explore the delightful sport of lawn bowling, and discover how one woman turned her passion for gardening into a thriving business. But first, let's find out how to RV travel on a dime. Who said retirement is boring? It's anything but for this couple. Barb and Dave Rees decided to make retirement everything it should be, an adventure.
Duck. Duck. Quack, quack. Quack.
When Dave retired from his job at the Powell River Mill, they decided it was time to do what they've always wanted to do, travel across Canada. But with a nearly empty bank account, the challenge was figuring out how they could travel and sustain themselves. The entrepreneurial couple came up with the idea of selling driftwood and blackberry jam at flea markets and farmers markets along their journey to cover travel expenses.
So we said what we would do is we would load a bunch of stuff into our old motorhome, our 1977 motorhome, and we would work our way across Canada.
Well, I took driftwood with me. I worked for a lady that sold driftwood to England, and then I got the idea, well, she can sell it to England, I can sell it across Canada.
And their creativity didn't stop there. Along the way, Barb started writing about their experiences, and as a result, Barb is now a successful self-published author.
In 2001, I wrote my first book, Lessons from the Potholes of Life, and so that is the book, and that was 26 stories from my life every time I, fell in the pothole and learned a diamond lesson and learned it all over again like we do in life, eh? And so then we took that book across with us in our first trip in 2003 when we went all the way to Prince Edward Island. That trip produced another book, produced the first RV Canada book, which was RV Canada on a Dime and a Dream. So that book we then took across Canada in 2007. Their dream then was to get all the way to Newfoundland, so which we did. And that trip produced the next book, which is RV Canada with Boo, the menopausal van. And then in 2009 we said, we haven't seen North Country yet. So we did. So that produced the last book, RV Canada's Far North on a Dream. And then this year we just finished another Western tour that took us up to Churchill, Manitoba to see the polar bears. So that will be a new book in 2013.
Barb's books not only tell their story about their RVing adventures, but they also contain anecdotes about the lumps and bumps they faced along the way, a bit of historical research and information on various locations, tips, and checklists for RV travel, highlights of the best places to see and eat, resources and tourism information. And they weren't kidding about RVing on a dime.
We made $35 in one day. Woohoo! We can keep going now. We have $35 for gas and food.
Barb and Dave Rees are an ambitious, young senior couple that have not let money stand in the way of their retirement dreams. This couple has proven that you don't need to be rich to travel. Just big dreams, a lot of faith, and a little luck.
Anybody can do this. You just have to have the courage to say, I'm going to go do this, and it doesn't matter if I got a lot of money. I'm going to go do it anyways before it's too late. And, if you don't have enough money, then get creative and make money. Robert Schuller, his quote took us all the way across Canada the first time, and it says, you don't have a money problem, you have an idea problem. And we put that poster up on our wall, and we have held on to that thought for all of our trips, because we don't really have enough money to keep a rig on the road for 4 months. But if you believe that it's not the money that's the problem, you've got to get creative and start using your head and think of something, the money will always come.
Now, if you're not ready to track Barb and Dave across Canada, you can always get in touch with them through their website, right2dream.com. Barb's books are also advertised through the RV Times if you'd like to read up and try your own adventure, one province at a time.
Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media. celebrating seniors in our community.
Adrenaline rushing, pulse throbbing, and overall mind-boggling excitement doesn't quite overtake your body when you watch this lonely ball gliding across the green. But wait, there's actually quite a thrill, or so we're told. Who knew that lawn bowling has fascinated both young and old for centuries? It was well established in England by 1299 AD. Apparently, the game became so popular in England and in France that it was prohibited by law because archery, essential to the national defense, was being neglected. Today, lawn bowling is a sport that's known for being a competitive yet relaxing and fun game for people of all ages, though mostly enjoyed by those in the 50-plus age group.
Lawn bowling is kind of a traditional sport. Mother brings daughter, father brings son. At the meantime, they always bring the whole family comes in here.
Vince Mai is not only the manager here at the Pacific Indoors Bowls Club in Vancouver, but also an active member with the Sunday Super League, which is a professional bowls competitive league. Vince is the highest-ranking player in the club and can be found here pretty much on a daily basis.
In lawn bowling, a lot of mental comes into play, and also quite physically, means a very good exercise. Like you're walking up, in the green, you're about 136 feet, you're walking up and down, minimum of 14 times. After a full day of lawn bowling, you'll be looking at about 2 kilometers of walking. There is no limitation on age, right? The oldest lawn bowlers I have seen is 97 years old and still running up and down the green.
And believe it or not, there's a motto when it comes to this game, and it goes something like this: if you can walk, you can lawn bowl. Lawn bowling is a great place to meet people, enjoy some competition, and in general do something active and social that can actually become quite addictive.
I, of course, started bowling when I was 27, so it's been over 40 years for me. I just loved the game. It was my husband, my late husband, who got me started in it. And I just loved it as soon as I started. And it's a game for everybody. Well, it's the exercise, it's the camaraderie, it's the strategy of the game. I love that. I just love the game.
Who would have guessed lawn bowling boasted such an interesting dichotomy? It's an extremely social game that's not overly strenuous, but at the same time, it's deceivingly intense. And who would know better than a retired meteorologist?
It's a very intense sport. The Australians have always said it best. It's a young person's game that older people can play, but it can be very intense. It's always thought of as a slow-moving, very sedate, proper English game, and it can be, but it's also very enjoyable, very relaxing, lots of exercise, need a great deal of flexibility. It's a fabulous game.
There is, however, a stereotype that this is a sport for seniors, but clubs all over Canada are boasting people of all ages enjoying the game. It just happens to be enjoyed a little more by the 50-plus population. And you can't negate the fact that the game is a great place to meet people, because it does take some time for one team to finish before yours can start. You could say lawn bowling is a place where sport and social life combine, and just in the perfect amount.
Hit it hard, hit it hard. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Number 1, thank you.
Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media, celebrating seniors in our community.
I'm actually 69 years old. I think so, but I think I want to stop at 67 for some reason. I think that's what it is. I'm 69. I've lost all my confidence now.
Presenting Bill Reiter.
Confidence is one trait Bill Reiter doesn't need. After an extremely rewarding career in the entertainment industry, which includes everything from hosting a children's TV show to being a central performer in a comedic CBC radio program, Bill also dabbled in radio as a disc jockey. He acted, produced, And some might even remember his guest appearances on shows like The Beachcombers and The King of Kensington. Bill Reiter can also boast the fact that he's been inducted into the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame. Not bad for a person who entered the biz just to have fun.
Oh, no, Bob. Nobody watches the master at work.
I'm ready.
Oh, my little mugwump. Oh, hey, no cameras.
Now, if you can't quite recognize the face, his signature voice is what makes him readily identifiable. Bill has performed and or voiced more than 5,000 radio and television spots during his incredible career.
Oh, yeah. WAGR Radio, Groove and Blue. And listen to this. All you Preston Epps fans. You remember Preston Epps? Bongo Rock? You don't remember you must remember Bongo Rock. I'm going to let you listen to this. WAGR Radio, Groove and Blue, DJ Zigzag. Oh, this is a goodie. This is funky, too.
Today, Bill is retired of sorts. He works in something that has always been his passion, music and radio. Under the name DJ Zigzag, Bill now hosts an online radio program on WAG Radio called Groovin' Blue. The focus is on a mix of jazz, rhythm and blues, African, soul, urban, and dance music.
I loved radio, and I loved doing radio commercials. Although I did have success doing stage. I have a love for film. I love going to film, but I don't have a love for doing that like I did for doing radio. I loved radio.
Bill has always had a love of music. Since his youth, he's been drawn to New World African music. He used to disc jockey a program called Groovin' Blue on CKLG-FM, an all-genre black music radio show. In his retirement, Bill has returned to his passion. In addition to his online radio program, Bill regularly blogs about music. He's also in the process of uploading material to the web from his peak days as a performer. Bill has created his own YouTube channel for this purpose. Here's a senior using emerging technology to pursue his passion and make his retirement years what he wants them to be. A radically cool endeavor, you might say. Here's a person now in his 70s featuring his own internet radio show, blog, and YouTube channel.
Sometimes I'm really computer savvy, and then sometimes it's like, oh, my brain hurts. I think everybody feels that way about computers.
As his performance career in traditional media slows down, Bill is enjoying his newfound interest in the internet. He doesn't plan on making a profit from his internet radio business, but he says, you never know what might happen. His career started out in much the same way. He didn't get into entertaining for the money. He did it for the fun of it, to have a riot. And the rest just went on from there.
Somebody stop me, please.
Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media, celebrating seniors in our community.
It wasn't so long ago that gardening was a way of life, not a hobby. Now, for some, you could say it's a hobby and a way of life. Carrie Nelson had a career in academia. Tired of her work and seeking a change, Carrie and her husband purchased 10 acres near Shawnigan Lake on Vancouver Island. Carrie was a keen camper, adventure traveler, loved the outdoors, and had a passion for gardening. Very quickly, her personal passion and her amazing property turned into an opportunity to sell some of her plants, and in turn, her nursery was born.
I was actually off work for about a year. I had a deferred leave, which you pay into, and then you take a year off. And I decided not to go back, so I took my retirement. I used to be a principal at what was then Malaspina University College, which is now Vancouver Island University. And I did that for 9 years, and I decided I wanted a change. So I did that. I built a greenhouse and had no intention of starting a nursery, but the greenhouse was a gift to myself for my retirement. And from there it just took off and totally got out of control. And then when I got the greenhouse going, I really decided that I liked propagating plants from cuttings or from seed or whatever. And that's what really took off and expanded the garden.
Carrie's retirement is now consumed with running a profitable nursery with many unique specialties. She has one part-time employee to help her with running the nursery. The rest she does on her own, seasonally, and under her own direction. Her focus right now is the experimental garden, which includes propagation techniques and finding out what works for cuttings given the local environment, temperature, and conditions. Her curiosity in this area was spurred on by her initial practice of taking one thing and planting it in her own garden so that she could see how it grew and how it takes to the local climate.
You can go online and look up deer-proof lists. Well, forget that. So I experiment. I don't have anything in my nursery that I say is deer-proof unless I've tested it myself. I really like to take things from my garden and propagate them, which means taking cuttings or collecting the seed. And in this case, I've done a few things. Propagate a lot of hardy geraniums. This time of year they're starting to pass, but they make a really nice ground cover, and they also bloom all summer, which is really nice. And so I sell quite a bit of that in the nursery. There's tons of varieties of hardy geraniums. A lot of people think geraniums are just the big red ones that you put in your pots for the summer, but no, there are lots of varieties that are available and good in this zone. So Vancouver Island and as low as Zone 3, which is up in Kamloops and Kelowna. So, and I'm experimenting with different kinds of peach trees. The peaches are espaliered against the wall, so they get full sun and they're under an eave. And there's 7 varieties here, so they come at different times of the year. So I have a continuous crop of peaches, but I also did this to experiment what peaches do best in our zone on southern Vancouver Island, because you see peaches in the Okanagan and they're full growing, luscious big trees. Here they have to be under an eave because they suffer from something called peach leaf curl.
Included in the experimental garden project are plants that are drought resistant, can flourish in microclimates, and tolerate climate change. Carrie works with a biologist and includes soil analysis in her research. This area of research is something Carrie particularly enjoys and hopes to expand on the program. She's also dabbling in areas which will allow her to still enjoy her passion for gardening, but in a smaller way as she ages. And she now carries a variety of smaller plants that are ideal for bonsai or smaller gardens.
So this is called Silver Show. It's a new cultivar of a fir. It's a Korean fir, and this is its natural habit to have the needles curl in on itself. And it stays that nice silvery color year-round, and it produces purple upright cones. This is a really nice specimen for, say, bonsai, or for a patio garden, or for a small garden, because it only grows to 5 feet in 10 years.
And her ideas continue to flourish, if you will. Not only is she going smaller, Carrie is also thinking of opening her property to weddings, and we can't argue that her setting is ideal. For Carrie and many others at her stage of life, retirement is no longer about retiring from life or work. Carrie is a perfect model of an active retiree pursuing a passion or hobby in retirement that turns into a viable business. Being an entrepreneur is new to her, but she's using her past skills, connections, experiences, and passions to drive her business to success. For Carrie, at this time in her life, her love for what she's doing overrides her ability to make money doing it.
I have a horticultural friend that told me, you should specialize, and the only way you ever make money is specialize. And I said, oh, well, what should I specialize in? And he says, oh, shrubs, evergreen shrubs, because everybody wants evergreen shrubs. Anyway, I said, that is so boring. I cannot do that. So I have everything I see, I think, oh, I love that. I've got to have it.
The nursery industry in BC is a successful and dynamic sector of the province's horticultural industry. British Columbia is the second largest producer of nursery stock in Canada and accounts for about 1/3 of national production. We're going to continue to see more and more senior entrepreneurs get into business and stay in business as the baby boomer population moves into retirement. Gardening can add zeal and increase energy levels for older adults, while also increasing physical activity. In a time when older adults are living longer and enjoying more free time, gardening offers the opportunity to reconnect with themselves through nature while enhancing their quality of life. After all, An addiction to gardening is not all bad when you consider all the other choices in life. Do you have a great story idea about seniors living life to the fullest? Senior Living would love to hear from you. Your inspiring story idea could be featured in an upcoming episode on Senior Living on Location or in our monthly BC-wide Senior Living Lifestyle magazine. To send us your idea, visit our website at seniorlivingmag.com and follow the links to our Contact Us page, or simply email us at production@seniorlivingmag.com.
I'm definitely not the A team. I'm probably C team, but I love it. And the first time I played it, I fell in love with it. I laughed and I joked. I couldn't believe how you could miss that big ball with this paddle.
After nursing, I decided painting. And so this is Canada, and then this is Korea, and it's also Korea, and this is my name.
I came up with this Merlin with the Excalibur, but he is from the front kind of spooky. There's two spheres that are actually gold color and will literally scare the heck out of any young kid that comes into the yard.